Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/IDontWorkHereLady. And today's story will be a shining example of why no one should consider themselves a very big boss. So if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Let's get started. Firstly, this didn't happen to me. I was with the person when they received a phone call about this issue. Then he explained it all to me. He's not on Reddit, so I'm sharing it. It's priceless. All names changed to protect the personal and company identities. Listed buildings. Important to the story. In the UK, there's a system for preserving ancient and important buildings. If a building has significant historical importance, it's known as a listed building. And the rules about how it's developed, maintained, and improved are very strict. I need to be vague about the work involved, otherwise it's too easy to identify the parties involved. My friend David is skilled in a very niche area of construction. He repairs and renovates buildings using a very old construction method that hasn't been common for several centuries. All his work is on conservation projects and listed buildings. Work was required on a Grade 1 listed property. The overall building work was being done by the main contractor, ACC Limited. One part of the work is very specialized. The contractor's managers didn't know anyone who did it, so the architect gave them a list of qualified people. The contractors chose my friend because he had the earliest availability. 5 days into the job, the owner of ACC Limited, the main contractor company, arrived on site. He was throwing his weight around and being a nosy gobshite, David's words. David was just doing his job and ignored him. Noisy gobshite told one of his carpenters to get him a coffee. Carpenter disappeared. Noisy gobshite continued wandering and gobbing off about delays costing him a fortune. 15 minutes after the carpenter had disappeared, the noisy gobshite asked my friend a question. Noisy gobshite, where is that effing Chippy with my coffee? Chippy is a nickname for a carpenter. David, I don't know. Noisy gobshite, well, go find him. David, I'm just here for this job, pointing to the walls. I don't work for ACC Limited. Noisy gobshite, I don't give an F whether you're an employee or a subcontractor. You still work for me. Now go find my effing coffee. David, firstly, I don't appreciate being talked to like that. And secondly, my contract with you is to do these walls. Nothing more. I'm definitely not a gopher. Noisy gobshite, oh, you don't appreciate being talked to like that, do you? Which subcontractor do you work for? David, none. I'm self-employed. It's just me. Noisy gobshite, a effing day laborer, and you've got the nerve to talk to me like that? Do you know who I am? David, yep. Noisy gobshite, well, you're effing fired. Get off the effing site now. David, okay, put it in writing. Noisy gobshite, F off, just get off the effing site. David pulled his phone out and started recording. David, okay, I'll go. I just want proof you told me to go. Noisy gobshite grabbed David's hand holding the phone and screamed into the phone. Noisy gobshite, get off the site, you effing idiot. You're fired. If you're still here in 10 effing minutes, I'll have you effing thrown out. David, cool, no problem. So he picked up all his kit and walked away. As he was leaving, the contractor site manager passed him, ironically with a coffee for the boss, and with a smile said, "You leaving early, Dave? Bloody part-timers." David, nope, your boss just fired me. Our contract is ended. Sorry, mate. Site manager, no, let me sort this out. Wait, please wait. David left. The site manager was losing his crap because he knew something that noisy gobshite didn't. Only 7 people in the UK are qualified to do the work. They all have a waiting list, and David had been the only one available. By the time he was home, he'd missed 12 calls. That was Thursday. 2 working days missed so far. He said he'll go back, but only if he gets paid for the extra days and has a genuine apology in person from the boss. I met my friend when he was getting a call from the site manager saying the boss apologizes but is out of the country, so can't apologize face-to-face. David also told me he'd phoned the other specialist to warn them, but they'd all been phoned on Friday, begging them to do the job. Nobody took the work. They're all booked solid. David also phoned the architect to warn him. In situations like this, some unscrupulous contractors try to bodge the job and fake the work. David's going to stick to his guns. pay for all missed days plus face-to-face apology. He's sure he'll get it. I've said I'd pay anything to watch that face-to-face apology. Update. Site manager phoned to say he was told by Noisy Gobsite to threaten legal action if David doesn't finish the job. Site manager was very embarrassed and apologetic. David reminded him he didn't leave and has proof that he was fired. Site manager phoned again to say Noisy Gobshite will apologize face-to-face on Friday. Can David start tomorrow? David said no. Following the threat of legal action, the conditions are different. 1. Face-to-face apology before work restarts. 2. Added pay for wasted days. 3. Payment of full contract value up front before work starts. 4. All must happen by Thursday. That's the last day he can start and still expect to finish before his next booking. If he also works the weekends, he has just enough time. I asked him why he isn't charging a huge extra amount for the guy being such a wanker. He said it doesn't look good if you take advantage of companies when they're under time pressure. Not the done thing. Seems that one of my friends is an 18th century gentleman. Update 2. Unfortunately, it seems there will be no apology. David has discovered that the site manager was blamed for not making Noisy Gobsite aware of the situation beforehand and was fired. David contacted the operations director for ACC Limited, Noisy Gobsite's number 2, and informed them that an apology is no longer required as he will not be returning to the job. The ops director apologized for everything and offered to renegotiate the money very generously. David told him that he had only considered going back to the job as a personal favor to the original site manager. Since he isn't there, he feels no obligation to return. Ops director said he will get back to David, but didn't say why. I asked why he didn't say, give him his job back or I won't come back. David said Noisy Gobshite is too petty and weak to be told what to do by a craftsman. It'll have to be the company's idea for the site manager to come back. If I tell them to bring him back, it won't happen. David says the site manager is great at his job, but only 4 years from retirement, so it's not easy to find a job at 61. I've decided I like David even more now than I did 3 days ago. Update 3. It's 2 a.m. here. We just got back from the pub. David got a call while we were out from the sacked site manager. David updated the architect on the situation this afternoon. The architect contacted the sacked site manager to tell him about a company who needs a site manager. The sacked site manager phoned David just before 9 p.m. I had to sit through the phone call, only hearing one side. I must have looked childishly excited, like I'd gotten an arse full of sparrows. Then David filled me in. The site manager rang to thank him and find out his favorite drink so he can send him a bottle. He hasn't got the new job yet, but he's seeing them on Friday. Apparently, the architect's recommendation carries some weight, so he's optimistic. David refused at first. I didn't get you the job, the architect did. The site manager said, but you set all this crap in motion and told the architect that I'd been fired. Because of you, I never need to deal with that obnoxious pillock ever again. David wasn't specific about who that obnoxious pillock was. We'll just have to guess. David said his drink is Cardew Gold Reserve. He said he'll accept a bottle only if A, the site manager gets the new job, and B, if the site manager will come over and drink the Cardew with him. Looks like the handsome scribe who did the enormously difficult, time-consuming job of skillfully writing this saga down on Reddit isn't included in the whiskey consumption. As David poetically put it, piss off, knobhead, you can buy your own effing drink. All good news, hopefully, except that nobody gets to see the tosspot, Noisy Gobshite, eat crap when he has to apologize. I was so looking forward to that. Additional information. David and the fired site manager know each other outside of work. Each are members of charity organizations in the same town. 2 different groups, but they work together a lot. Site manager is in Rotary Club and David is in Round Table. I don't think he's a knight, but you never know. Update 4. Operations Director for ACC Limited phoned David to suggest that they take the site manager back and generously renegotiate the money. David says they've missed the boat. There's no way he can finish the job on his own before he starts his next job. There is an absolute minimum of 11 days of work left if everything goes without a hitch. David's next job starts November 4th, only 10 days left if he works both weekends. Too late. I wish I could be a fly on the wall when Noisy Gobshite is told. The most common question. Many are asking what David does. If I said what it is, it's so identifying that I might as well give you his real name and address. Sorry. The reason there are very few of them, it takes 5 years just to become competent and at least 9 years to become a master craftsman. The jobs need at least one master present when the work is done. Update 5. Bad news. Fired site manager didn't get the other job. He met the new company, but they're not taking him on. Reasons aren't clear. David's meeting with him on Sunday to discuss it. I can tell David feels like crap about it, even though it's not his fault. Site manager says he's going to take action for unfair dismissal. I thought this was going to be a win-win-win, but I suppose life isn't like that. Update 6. News about the sacked site manager. The situation isn't as bad as we first thought. I think we misunderstood what happened on Friday. David talked to him yesterday. The company he saw on Friday are not employing him in the normal way. That part was correct, but they have offered him a fixed-term contract for 18 months on a distribution center build. It's not perfect, but on the bright side, it's slightly better paid than ACC. It's only 18 months, but that's better than nothing. There's also a chance that the new company might extend the contract if another project comes in. Update 7. 7? Seriously? David has heard they're getting a Bulgarian to come over to do the job. David was grinning when he told me. He thinks he knows what'll happen. There's a similar but different technique that was used on some 19th century buildings in Sofia. David thinks that the guy will use that technique. It looked similar, but two very important materials are different. David has decided to wait. He plans to let the Bulgarian finish the job and get paid. Then David is going to suggest to the planning department that the client check the two components. Unless the Bulgarian knows the 17th century English method, he'll have used the wrong materials. That would mean ripping it out and starting again. They are incredibly strict with this type of work. I shouldn't want this so much, but I really hope this happens. I'm a petty man. Update 8. David has been told that the Bulgarian got straight to it and started work. He had materials delivered, but from an ordinary building supplier. The stuff he needs to do the job properly is too bulky for him to bring with him, even if they sold it in Bulgaria. He hasn't ordered it from the UK supplier. There are 3, but only one has enough for the job because they got it in for David. So unless it's coming by road and ferry, he's not using the right materials. David wouldn't allow it to go unreported even if he wasn't annoyed about noisy gobshite. He's got a genuine passion for looking after these buildings he works on, and he's a purist when it comes to historical accuracy. So now I have to hold my water for 3 or 4 weeks. David says that if he's using more modern materials, he might finish sooner. 3 weeks is the time it takes if you stay in the 17th century. I've turned into a bit of a weirdo about this job. When I phoned David earlier on a pretext, he realized I was after info again. David, F me! You really want me to fit a body cam so you can see and hear everything as it happens? Me, if it's not too much trouble, can you just link me into your phone calls? That'd be nice. David, after laughing, you effing knob cheese. Is it okay if I cover the lens when I'm crapping and shagging my wife? Me, personally, I don't do those two things at the same time, but whatever floats your boat. David, you're telling me you do them separately? When are you shagging my wife? Me, right after she's cleaned up all the crap off the sheets from doing you. Some of us are fussy. David, piss off. You're an upright clean freak. And he hung up. No goodbye, no see you soon. English manners just aren't what they used to be. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.